Okay, so welcome back. So the previous video I talked about how to add Flubaroo into the Google Sheet as an add-on. This video is going to teach you how to use Flubaroo to grade it. So if you remember the very earlier when I was teaching you how to create Google Forms, I actually had you take one and I took it myself. I put my name, Erin Kress, as the first answer there. When you are doing this, I would suggest taking it but putting answer key. You can put your name too and just know that that was you, but usually it's nice to know that you're taking it and you're creating the answer key. So in Google Forms, in this format here, there's no way to choose which answer is correct. You actually have to go through and actually take it yourself. So I'll show you again, even though I've already done this once myself. The way that you would do this is you would go to preview, and again, so once you're ready to grade it, you need to have one made yourself. So I'm actually going to make one called answer key, and make sure that you choose the correct answers. Okay, and now it's submitted. Okay, so now I can go back to my form and I scroll down, and the very last one that was submitted there is answer key. As you see, I put my own email address, and it doesn't, you can still put yours in there, and that's fine. Okay, so now it's time to grade. So we're going to go to the add-ons at the top, go to Flubaroo, and you are going to click on Advanced and enable auto grade. And when you do that, that's how students are going to get their grades in their emails. Okay, so the very first step, it says you are going to go through and you're going to show each item in the form what it means, what the grading option is. So Flubaroo already defaults and knows that the username likely is one way to identify the student. Same thing with the first and last name. If you wanted to change these, you can, but Flubaroo is very accurate most times. They know which questions are to identify students, which questions are actually going to be ones to be graded. Okay, so down here are my 5 questions. I can change the point value, and if I made a mistake, I could skip grading, or I could even choose to grade by hand. If you do that, it's not going to be able to be auto-graded though. Okay, so I'm just going to choose normal grading for all of these. And just a little tip, when you are creating your Google form in this format, if you make a mistake and you delete a question, it'll still show up over here on Flubaroo. So if that's the case, go through, make sure that everything you have, the only ones that you want to grade are the ones that are actually going to be submitted for the students. So double check this page. Make sure that you check it very accurately so you don't have something being graded that shouldn't be there. If you choose skip grading, when the students receive their scores, it will turn out to be gray. And some students, they get confused by that, so just tell them that was just something that was skipped. So just to give you a heads up on that. Okay, so once you have everything right, you can hit continue. And on this page, it's going to ask you to choose an answer key. So I usually choose the very first one, but I'm actually going to choose the one that I submitted and called it answer key. It doesn't have to be called answer key. You could call it whatever you want. Now this part is important because it says here that this is how the students can receive their grades. This is the share grades page. So the email address question, how are they going to how's Flubaroo going to know to email the students their grades? It's going to be under the username. Okay, so that is something that's a field that you did not create, but that's a field that Flubaroo is going to use to pull to know who the student is to be able to email them the grades. It says grade sharing method. You have several options here. One, you can just email it to the students. If your students do not use their email or have access to email, you can share it within their Google Drive. And then finally, you can do both. Email it to the students and have the score appear in their Google Drive. You can also provide a list of questions and scores, You can provide an answer key, and you can even give a message. So I'm going to hit continue. And I'm going to hit yes. And while Flubaroo is grading this, as you see at the bottom, a new tab appeared. Student submissions is where we just were, and grades is now where we are. So, and in the next video, I'll teach you how to analyze this data.